Greetings, everyone. Editing Val coming in here really quick to say I'm so sorry for this episode. It is the most random episode. I could have talked about so much more about the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for example, or so many other things. I don't know where my head was, but it is what it is. And so next week's will be better. I promise. But now, here's this week's. You're listening to The Motherhood Experience, a podcast where you are part of the conversation with moms, for moms, and by moms. Let's jump into this episode with me, your host, Val Kleppen. Hello and Merry Christmas. This is the Motherhood Experience podcast. I'm your host, Val Kleppen, and this episode is releasing Christmas Eve 2024. So glad to have you joining me today. I don't have a guest today. It's going to be me talking about things that pop into my head because that's what I do. It was funny. My daughter asked, "Did you write our Christmas letter yet?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have time for it this year. I don't think I'm going to be able to put one together." And deadpan, she says, "Oh no. How am I going to know what I've been up to this year?" It made me chuckle quite a lot. Yeah, I guess we're just going to have to wing it, aren't we? With remembering things that we've done this year. We've accomplished a lot. We did a lot of things different this year and had a lot of trials this year, had a lot of successes. 2024 has been a very unique year, I took 2 work trips back to Fargo this year. Normally I only take one, but it was fun to go both times. Hubs and I went and saw Nate Bargatze live for our anniversary. What a blast. That was so much fun. My head hurt from laughing so hard. If you ever get a chance to see Nate Bargatze live, take it. You can also listen to his podcast, Nateland. That's a hilarious one. Let's see. I painted the entire main level of our house this year. Hallway, dining room. I guess that's it. We have a very, very long hallway and a very open, spacious, all-consuming dining room, and it took a lot of time, but I got it all done, and it brightened up the inside of this house so much. This house was so dark and gloomy and dreary, and the inside colors were the same as the outside colors, and everything was just gray or dark blue, and it was so sad inside. So I brightened it all up, and it is amazing on the inside now. You all know that in August of this year, Facebook suspended me. Thought that I was somehow dangerous or something. I'm not quite sure. So we do have a new Facebook page since, I don't know, maybe October, maybe October sometime. So it's always linked in the show notes. The correct one is now. The old Facebook page is still gaining followers. We need to stop that. If you don't see a post from that day or the day before on that Facebook page, that's the wrong Facebook page. Come over to leave the dark side. Come over to the good side of Facebook with the new page. It's linked in the show notes below. I will say, I tried to record this episode once already. I was drinking some hot chocolate and I couldn't talk because the hot chocolate was so good that I just wanted to sit and drink hot chocolate the whole time. I will say, if you are looking for like a good, cute gift at some point, I mean, it's Christmas Eve now. You're not going to get it in time, but look for Silly Cow Farms hot chocolate. Silly Cow Farms. I think they're in Vermont. Not sponsored, not an ad. They just have the most delicious hot chocolate, and it comes in the cutest little, it's shaped like a milk bottle, and it's an actual glass bottle. the hot chocolate mix, and it's allergen free. So it's dairy free, it's gluten free, it's nut free, it's allergen free hot chocolate mix. And the best tasting I've ever had in my life. I like it better than the hot chocolate mix I make myself. And that's pretty good. Silly Cow Farms. Silly Cow Farms, if you're looking for someone to have an ad with. I love your stuff. I love your stuff. Send me a sample. I'll get the word out. I promise. Also, I had my first ever, am I going to say this right? Ionized foot detox bath in September of this year. And now I try to get one every month for sure. Try to get 2 a month if I can. They're fascinating. Pretty disgusting. You sit there and you watch the water turn all kinds of gross, and your feet are in it, and your feet are supposedly causing the grossness as your body detoxes. But I love it. I love it. It's like a spa treatment. I can't tell you. I had a friend ask me, like, do you actually feel better after those? Because the science is inconclusive. And I was like, yeah, I do. I do feel better after them, but also I kind of feel like the next day, that day, I have a surge of energy and I feel amazing the whole rest of the day. And I really have to be conscious about staying hydrated so I can flush more of that stuff out of me. The next day, depending on if I've been able to hydrate myself properly or not, it can be kind of rough the next day though. Like all the toxins are like, hey, we were kicked out and now we don't know what to do. So we're just going to float here for a little bit. It can be kind of rough actually, but I love having them. I love getting them. I just sit in this little spa room for an hour every time with my feet in hot water. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. Look for someone near you who does an ionized, I think I'm saying it right, an ionized foot detox bath. If you live near me and you need to know someone who does this, contact me. I'll let you know where I go. In October, you remember back in episode 2, my friend Tiffany, she came out for my birthday in October this year. We had a wonderful time together. We drove to Bonesteel, where I was speaking at a tea and testimony event with Candace Elford, who was also a previous guest. And I think I can announce this already. It's been announced. March of 2025, Overflow Ministries, I believe it's the 5th annual women's conference. And I will be speaking. So if you are in or can get to Bonesteel, South Dakota, the end of March, I would love to see you there. The theme is Stronger Together, and it's going to be great. I love speaking, and being a speaker and also an awkward introvert is a real trip. It's a real trip. It should be interesting and a lot of fun. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be able to do it, and I look forward to seeing everyone in Bonesteel, March 2025. What else do we have going on? I feel like as I look at my year in review, this kind of would be a better New Year's Eve episode, you know, where I talk about what we did this year, what I would do for the year ahead. So I'm really struggling with where to take my conversation right now. I will say though, with regards to Christmas, there's, you know, everybody has their own traditions, their own ideas. We have never done Elf on a Shelf. We don't do Santa. You know, we have our own way of doing things. If it were left up to me, we probably wouldn't do gifts, but I it and I say it like I say that and now I feel like I have to unpack it. Oh, what am I doing? I say that because so often I feel like gifts are given just to give gifts, just for the sake of a gift being given. And we just accumulate stuff, and physical clutter causes me immense mental clutter. So when we acquire this stuff, it stresses me out and I don't like it. I give all of our neighbors' gifts. It's funny. I was looking back through texts, and a couple years ago when I texted our neighbor who lives at the end of the road, I had dropped off always homemade stuff. So it's like, mixes or treats, goodies, hearty sustenance food of some kind. Like it's always homemade food gifts that I give to the neighbors. So I had dropped his off and texted him that I had dropped it off. And his reply to me was, "You're too kind." And I said, "Don't let the word get out." And this year, he texted me after I dropped it off. He texted me, "You're a better neighbor than I." And I said, "Well, apparently the word got out because we now have 3 times the number of neighbors from when I texted him a couple of years ago not to let the word get out." So I went from dropping off 3 neighbor gifts to, was it 7 or 8 I did this year? It was too many. I know my neighbor is listening to this. You're wonderful. Also, it's just funny to me. We moved here, there was no one here. Now all these people are here, and apparently it's because I'm so nice. But I do enjoy giving the neighbor gifts. Everyone gets something different, which is stupid. I should just keep it simple and give the same things to everybody so I know what everybody has gotten. But what's that Avril Lavigne song, Complicated? Yeah, I have to make things so complicated. So people get different stuff. I gave, this year, I did make my very first thumbprint cookies, Whole Fed Homestead, WHOLE, Fed, F-E-D, homestead.com. She has a gluten-free thumbprint cookie recipe, and I made those. They are divine. I used my chocolate cherry jam as the filling for these thumbprint cookies. I don't think chocolate cherry jam should be used for much of anything else. It's an amazing ice cream topper, and it is the perfect thumbprint cookie filler. I can't believe I've never made thumbprint cookies before, honestly. I didn't think I would like them, I guess. They're so good. I also made another first-time cookie, brown sugar icebox cookies. You've probably heard me talk about this before. I got a cookbook for a wedding gift almost 22 years ago now. The Complete Guide to Country Cooking, I think is what it's called. I have used that cookbook over and over and over and over and over again for 22 years. And there are so many things in there I still have never made. One of these was the brown sugar icebox cookies, and I made those for the first time. I can't believe I've never made them before. They're so good. So I'm going to be the thumbprint cookies and the icebox cookies. I'm going to be making those basically all of the time. I'm going to have to get a new podcast chair because I'll outgrow this one. It's going to be amazing. And let's see what else. Every year, do you guys have, traditions or parties or, things that you do every year? I know some people do a cookie exchange or an ornament exchange or an ugly sweater party, whatever. What are the things that you do every year? For us, it's a white elephant gift exchange. I have been having a white elephant party almost every year. I want to say since 2009. Is that right? 2009, 2010, somewhere in there. I grew up having them. We had a neighbor white elephant Christmas party every year. And then, I grew up and moved away, and I think I started hosting my own either 2009 or 2010. And every year I knew that was going to be the night that I laughed the hardest. We didn't host one, I think, a couple of years. But it's, if you don't have one of those traditions, I think, like, something like a cookie exchange or a white elephant party or just an ugly sweater party with, select few or whoever. I feel like that's something that we need to do because when we're I guess expected, you spend holidays with your family, right? And so it's nice to have these things outside of that you can do with friends, and it's just different. It's a different group, it's a different ambiance, it's a different conversation thread. Everything about it is different, and I think that it's so fun. And I still have so much fun with my family. I don't think there's anyone, possibly with the exception being Nate Bargatze, who makes me laugh harder than my own sister. But I know that at our white elephant party, I'm going to laugh so hard every year. And it's always the case. It's always the case. And every year is so different. Some years there's a lot of stealing gifts, and some years there's like this year there was like no stealing. And it's not because the gifts, were awful or anything, or sometimes gifts are stolen when they're not that great. It just depends on the year, I think. Anyway, I am curious if you do anything like that. What are the things that you do every year around Christmas time that are just like your tradition? It's something that you do. I this year have really lamented that we don't do more of like a Norwegian heritage something. My good friend made lefse that we got to eat this year. I couldn't make lefse. I did make kuchen. Kuchen is German, though it is not Norwegian. But I did make kuchen this year. In fact, I asked my kids, if you could choose kuchen or lefse, which one would you choose? And they, without hesitation, said kuchen. I guess. I mean, it is South Dakota's official state dessert, which I find funny because I've never seen it here. I didn't even know what kuchen was until I married my husband, just like I didn't know what pinochle was until I married him. Yeah, so much. We do so much German stuff, though. We do so much German stuff, and I just have been lamenting like we don't do any Norwegian stuff. And I just think that the Norwegian heritage is so I don't know. I just want to incorporate more of it into our day-to-day life. So I think I'm going to try to do that in 2025. But now I'm veering into the New Year episode type stuff. So what else about Christmas? Oh, another fun thing that we do for Christmas, and I know my friend is the same way. At least one friend. So she might listen and be like, "Oh, we do that." I know because we've talked about it. And I'm sure several of you do this, but our kids specifically get at least 4 gifts: something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And that's a fun little poem that we do. We used to, just go kind of berserk and bust our budget, but now we've been able to stick to it better because of this. But then sometimes I still struggle with the stockings. It's kind of, the stockings are like, okay, we have these 4 gifts: something they want, something they need, something to wear, something to read. And then all bets are off with the stocking. You want candy? Shove it in there. You want some cash? It's like the stocking is like some holiday drug bust. I don't know how it happens. I don't know what would go good in a stocking, I guess. So I just try to find things that will fit. And that's how it ends up, I suppose. We also started doing, on Christmas Eve, getting together with my parents. Last year, at Christmas time, my mom was a guest on the episode and we talked about some of our favorite holiday memories. We started just in the last, probably 4 or 5 years, getting together at my parents on Christmas Eve, and then my mom wants to do everybody's stockings on Christmas Eve. But I don't like doing that because then we do our own stockings on Christmas morning. But what I get my nephews for their stockings is almost exactly the same as what I get my own children in their stockings. So if we do stockings for everybody else on Christmas Eve, Then my kids see what my nephews get, and they're like, oh, I know what we're getting in our stocking tomorrow. So I don't know how to navigate around that. I suppose I could just buy different things, but that would make my job harder. So I'm not going to do that. If you have any ideas, shoot them at me in the comments. Like what can I do? It's just so much easier to buy 4 of something for 4 kids. They're within the same age range. Like it just makes sense. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Also, so many people are sick this year. So if you are listening to this and you are sick at Christmas, first of all, I'm so sorry. Second of all, get you some Silly Cow Farms no, not really. Don't do that. That won't help you feel better. But drink some tea. I have some teas I could recommend if you want tea recommendations. There's so much you can do for your own health that will help you feel better and stay better in the long run if you can get to them fast enough. Did I ever do an episode of, I don't think I have. Oh, that might be an interesting one. That would be a more fun one with a guest, though. Do you like it when I think out loud like this? I should do an episode at some point of the hippie voodoo home remedies that we do. My husband calls it hippie voodoo. I call it health and wellness. But, potato. Potatoes, speaking of, are one of the things. They're one of the remedies. But I won't divulge that information now. Let's see, what else can I share about Christmas? I will say every Christmas, I think about my great grandma Vida. And I know that my mom and I talked about her on our Christmas episode last year. My great grandma Vida was the epitome of womanhood. She was so warm and welcoming, so hospitable, so sweet, so loving. She may not have gotten my name right. Not because she didn't know it, but because my sister and my name start with the same letter. And so sometimes I would be Valerie and sometimes I would be Veronica. But that's my own mom still confuses us to this day. But I never minded going to great grandma Vida's. We would always go on Christmas Eve. We would open gifts from her. We would always get a pair of pajamas, and my sister and my younger cousin and we would get, matching nightgowns or whatever it might have been. She was just the sweetest woman, and every Christmas I think of her. Every Christmas I think about Grandma Vida and all that she did and how well she loved all of us. And I hope that one day I have great grandchildren, and instead of great grandma Vida, they remember fondly great grandma Val. It's weird to think of myself as a great grandma one day, but I really am looking forward to it. Honestly, I wouldn't mind being a grandma, in the next. I better be careful. I look forward to the day that I become a grandma, and then a great grandma would just be twice as much fun, I think. I don't know. But who are some people that you remember every Christmas? What are some fun memories that you just sit and fondly remember every time Christmas rolls around? I know Christmas is hard for some people. Heck, this year, I'll be transparent with you. Back in April, it was the hardest birthday of Harlan's since she passed away that I can remember in a long time. I think maybe the last hard birthday was her 7th birthday in 2020. But this year, 2024, 11th birthday, it was so hard. The whole month I was a wreck. I was a wreck the entire month. And I don't know why that happens. I don't know what made this year harder than other years. I don't know why this April was harder than other Aprils in the past. And it really stunk. And I really struggled my way through it. And I say that to say, if Christmas is hard for you, and some Christmases are harder than others, and you don't know if it's going to be a difficult Christmas or out of nowhere, the tears come. I don't want you to feel ashamed in that, and I don't want you to feel like something is wrong with you. It happens. Sometimes memories are resurfaced from experiences we have, things that happen, and the emotions just kind of leak their way through your eyes, and that's okay. So if Christmas is hard for you, that's okay. And my prayer for you is that one day Christmas is again joyful and meaningful in cheerful, happy ways. And I just want to encourage you that it can be, and it will be again one day. Okay? Okay. Take it from Great Grandma Val. I promise you. I promise you. It might not be this year, but it will be someday. So those are some things I guess I just wanted to chat about Christmas and some traditions and some things I love about it. And of course, always mentioning my great grandma Vida. But I am curious, share in the comments, are you a cookie exchange person, a white elephant gift exchange person? I would love to know what is the best or worst, depending on how you look at it, white elephant gift you've ever received. That would be fun to read through those comments. The best or worst white elephant gift you've ever received. And also, are you one of those people who does like nice white elephant gifts? You say it's a white elephant party, but you expect nice things. One time my husband had a work party and they were going to do a white elephant gift exchange. And everybody bought something nice except for my husband, who a white elephant to us is, garbage. Stuff you don't want, ridiculous stuff. And so he kind of gathered up like some of our old and beaten up unwanted travel mugs and put them all in a gift bag. And so everybody's opening up these beautiful gifts. There's like this Bath and Body Works, lotion set, or, it's loofah and soap and all this. Oh, here's some fancy coffee with a Christmas mug, and everybody's opening these nice gifts. he actually went up to the person who got his discarded travel mugs. Oh my goodness, it's so ridiculous. He went up to them afterward and apologized, and he was like, can I do something to make it up to you? And they were like, don't worry about it. But they were absolutely unhappy with it. But also, maybe here's a takeaway for all of us. If you host a white elephant party, if you are invited to a white elephant party, maybe let's define, what do you mean when you say white elephant? Because you either expect me to spend $15 on some cutesy thing that you're going to be thrilled to open, or you're getting some discarded travel mugs or something. We have a lot of fun with the white elephant, and I think the more ridiculous the gift, the better, honestly. I don't understand calling it a white elephant gift and it's just all this nice stuff, just no, that's not it. That's not a white elephant. That's a hill I will die on. So with that, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook. One more episode this year, and then we're back into full lineup of guests, more motherhood experience stories. So with that, I'll give you the rest of your day back. Have a very Merry Christmas. We'll see you next week with a New Year's Eve episode. And God bless. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of the Motherhood Experience podcast. To join our exclusive TME community, head over to themotherhoodexperience.com/learn more. Be sure to follow The Motherhood Experience on Instagram, and please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment below, and we'll catch you next time.